Columbia Day, and that not only means a holiday, but also a special day at Expo.
Today we salute the host province of this 1986 World's Fair. Hi, I'm Wayne Cousins.
I'm Ramona and Bill Dobson and Cam Cathcart are with us too as we devote our whole show to British Columbia. Bill?
Ramona, I'm going to introduce you to a fascinating man, an artist in BC called Martin Gilbert. Cam?
Bill, I'm going to go aboard the Master, a grand old BC tug that's been lovingly restored, especially for Expo.
Also on the show, a preview of the exciting Abbotsford Air Show and a look at the BC Challenge Pavilion. It should surprise you.
And Wayne and I will be going hot air ballooning. Really exciting. But first, an activity that's about as typically BC as you can get, and it draws big crowds at Expo every day.
1, 2, go! Come on, you guys, let's go! Come on, let's get going!
If you live in BC, you've probably seen a logging show before, but it's something you never get tired of. There's quite a bit of skill involved in some of these stunts.
Bullseye! 14 for the red team. That ties the score up.
I took Ramona with me to this show just to show her some of the finer points of this stuff.
Gonna be close between these two men.
The chips really fly as the loggers compete with each other. It's fun, of course, but there's a lot of pride here, too. I know, because I've done a bit of this myself.
Gagner's up on his board. So is Jack Brownjohn. We need help on that Pioneer team. They're 1 point behind. There it is for Jack Brownjohn. Below ahead of Norm Gagner. Ready. 1, 2, go.
Isn't this great? Look at those guys go. I remember I used to do this when I was a kid.
And it's the Pioneer team with Mike Rogerson up and down that tree in 23.2 seconds. Somebody's going to get wet, so get behind your
This is one of my favorites, the log rolling. Mind you, there are tricks to it. It's not quite as tough as it looks. It sure impressed Ramona, though.
Oh, no!
Then one of the logging guys recognized me in the crowd. I guess he's seen our show. Anyhow, he called me down and asked me if I wanted to do a little log rolling. Well, naturally, I jumped at the chance. I've never actually done it before, but I've watched enough of it to have a pretty good idea of what's involved. Well, here goes.
Okay. Okay, now what's the...
You said it was easy!
Okay, now what? One more time. Okay. Just make it steady for a bit, okay? I'll let you go first. Okay, you ready? Okay, now what? It looks easy from up there, but you should try. Okay, so it's tougher than it looks. At least I tried. He had the bigger end of the log, and my end was wet. He had better shoes than I did. For World Stage 86, I'm soaking wet.
You are.
At least I tried.
The BC Pavilion at Expo comes in two parts. The Discovery side is an adventure through the scenic wonders of this province. The other side is Challenge BC, and it has quite a different purpose.
'Cause I'm cold.
What pavilion comes complete with its own rock band, a tin of fish, politicians, a widescreen movie, and more? It's the Challenge BC exhibit, a unique illustration of how British Columbia contends with and manages its many resources. The Challenge experience begins here, in a room full of wonderful creations brimming with color and humor. Our visit ends with a Trimax movie called Our British Columbia. vegetation in the middle that is the most unusual. The fun begins when we appear to take a wrong turn into a warehouse. We're greeted by a worker named McNeil, who has this knack of talking to what's inside the crates of his warehouse. He converses with BC resources like water.
BC gets great natural habitats, recreation, transportation, and the real biggie, hydroelectric power.
And salmon.
Who's gonna keep our spawning areas clear?
Get the debris out of the rivers and streams.
Help us procreate.
What? Nobody says procreate, Byron. I think today they refer to it as making.
The mining industry is well represented too.
Hey, fellas, we got an audience out here.
Wow.
Let's tell them all about us.
Who are you guys?
Coal.
I'm copper. I'm lead. I'm zinc. I'm gold.
And I'm
A rock room, eh?
You see, this is a place where computers get their say along with protesters and government.
We must pull together, understand each other's goals, and push forward towards a brighter tomorrow.
Can you tell me what you thought of the warehouse show?
It was fabulous, marvelous,
It's very impressive.
very innovative.
The best thing we've seen so far. We're from California, loved every minute of it.
And an upbeat song and dance number is another reason for the enthusiastic reviews. From Expo's liveliest warehouse at the Challenge BC exhibit, I'm Ramona Marr.
Still ahead on World Stage, lots of thrills at the biggest Abbotsford Air Show ever. The creative insights of a wonderful artist and the gentle way to fly. Hot air ballooning in the Fraser Valley.
Expo 86 has staged a lot of transportation events for the fair, but it's also raised the profiles of many existing events. One of those is the fabulous Abbotsford Air Show, which takes place August 8th, 9th, and 10th. Wayne has a preview.
Here they come from the four corners of the globe, flying their way into your hearts, the stars of the Abbotsford International Air Show. Air Show Vice President is Peter Alpin.
Well, this year, Wayne, we hope to have the biggest air show in North America. 5 military precision jet display teams will be coming to the show, including the Canadian Snowbirds, the U.S. Blue Angels, the Brazilians, the Italians, the French. So it's going to be quite a show.
The Blue Angels are the crack U.S. Navy flying team. They're returning to Abbotsford after a 4-year absence, a guaranteed crowd pleaser. Then there are Canada's own Snowbirds, 9 airplanes flying only inches apart and performing some of the best formation flying you'll ever see. Add the Brazilians, the French, and the Italians, and you've got an awesome air show.
What about some of the local groups that will be performing?
Well, of course, we have a couple of interesting civilian acts this year. Craig Hoskins in his Pitt Special. It's an inverted aircraft, meaning he takes off and lands upside down. And, of course, Johnny Casey and Jimmy Franklin will be there. They are stunt guys from the early 60s, and they're wing walkers, and they fly out what they call the Waco Mystery Ship.
Now, one of the biggest attractions has got to be the Concorde.
They'll be there doing a 9-minute show each day. Yeah, I'm sure people have seen it fly around Expo, but we're looking forward to that as well.
Great. And how did that arrive at the air show this year?
Well, fortunately, through the cooperation of Pacific Western Airlines, Pacific Western Holidays, we approached British Airways and came up with the appropriate amount of cash and arranged for them to come here, and they're flying some people around town, and then they're going to come up to the air show.
And I understand that plane is really maneuverable in the air for a plane that size.
Well, it's unbelievable what that plane will do. And the folks come out to Abbotsford, they'll see it bank, they'll see it do some tight turns, and almost wave to the folks.
They tell me the Abbotsford Air Show is one of the best entertainment bargains in town. What is the cost?
Well, it's $25 a carload, and that's each day, August 8, 9, and 10. And that $25, however many people you have in the car, you come on in and enjoy our air show. That's the only cost. In fact, that's the only revenue that our society takes in. And then the rest of the time it's free, except for the hot dogs and the hamburgers that you buy.
What kind of attendance are you expecting this year?
We would like to see 200,000. We've targeted for a minimum of 150 to a max of 200. We're not sitting back. We've gone out and we're going after all the crowds that Expo is putting in to the Lower Mainland area. So we'll be aggressively going after them.
Describe a typical day at the air show.
Lots of bikinis, lots of fellas in cutoffs, lots of families, hot, hot weather, and just an incredible, exciting noise factor as you watch these men and women put their planes through some incredible paces.
Of art everywhere at Expo. Makes a person wonder what all these creative people did before Expo and what they'll do after the fair. Bill Dobson gives us a look behind the scenes at one of the BC artists.
Everybody who's been to Expo has seen the colorful UFO H20, watched the children play in it, and marveled at the antics of the water. You might have seen Mr. Discovery, the huge, moving, creative comic chap among the trees of Discovery in the BC Pavilion. Or you might have enjoyed the overhead hanging mobile in the Discovery BC Pavilion. All these are the work of one man. This was the way John Martin Gilbert saw that overhead mobile. He first made it in his workshop in model form, and we had the help of some neighborhood kids to make it go for us in Mr. Gilbert's workshop in his West Vancouver home. He likes to see people enjoying his art.
My whole object is to delight people. Mm-hmm. And when I can touch people and bring out the child in the person, that's when I feel I've performed my job well. You put the kid in a cardboard box, you know, and he's on the moon in a minute or so. But you put a bank president in a cardboard box and he just sits there looking silly. So, you know, you have to find a way to get to him and bring the kid out, and it's a lot tougher. But it's in there, you know, he's in there somewhere.
Let's take a look at some of his works. The Scratcher was made for a pharmaceutical ad. It runs on popsicle sticks. This is John Martin Gilbert's theory of flight. This is his impression of marital conflict, a Saturday night at home. How about this, a portrait of a poor skier whose broken leg is covered with birds. Cute little birds. But of interest to the watcher is what makes it work. How would you like a little very American train? Here's what it would look like going through grass. Another personality from John Gilbert's collection is the hypochondriac. I think you can figure it out. This crazy apparatus is a painting machine. The brush moves all over as the machine moves back and forth. An American television group added some electronic effects and came up with this demonstration. This was a model that didn't get into Expo. Mr. Gilbert suggested it for just inside the West Gate. It represents a simple version of spaceflight, but if you look at the tiny figure at the base, it would have been on a grand scale. But let's get away from these for a moment. Some of John Martin Gilbert's genius has been seen in commercials on television.
Schaefer, when you're having more than one.
Cut the cost of making the sale. Pick up your phone. The phone turns time into money.
Switch your checking and savings to First Alabama Bank and enjoy 24-hour power.
John Gilbert is looking for bigger and better things in the future.
The ideal way would be to design things in the workshop, and then I'm talking about larger sculpture now, perhaps in a foyer of a building or in malls or theme parks or whatever.
Now that millions of people have seen his works at Expo, I'm sure they'll beat a path to his door. From West Vancouver, for World Stage 86, I'm Bill Dobson, and this is John Gilbert's Mechanical Sun.
When the folks at Expo set out to design the Marine Plaza, they brought together a collection of boats and ships from all over the world. But they also saw the wisdom of including some vessels from British Columbia's own maritime history. One of them was the Master. Here's Cam Cathcart.
Possibly one of the most enduring scenes on the
Department A, Vancouver, BC.
Each issue has exciting surprises, puzzles to solve, games they can play with their friends, a trivia quiz, stories about remarkable kids, and often supersized pullouts to put on the wall. What a marvelous gift for any young person. It pleases while it teaches. And when you send your subscription order today, we'll also mail a special personalized gift card from you. So send 1855 along with your young person's address and your...
Normally, these powerful little vessels would be pushing logs into booms in the waters of the BC coast. But they're so versatile and maneuverable that they can literally perform a marine ballet. They do it 4 times a day in the waters off the BC Pavilion at Expo. Look risky? The boom boats are uncapsizable and unsinkable, so the operators put them through their paces to music. Talk about confidence. After this summer of dancing on the water, these drivers won't want to go back to jockeying logs. Looks like fun though, doesn't it?
Many visitors who come to Expo are also taking advantage of some of the other attractions here in British Columbia. And here's a great one, hot air ballooning. And if you've always thought of ballooning as one of those activities only for the rich and crazy, you're wrong on both counts. Our adventure begins in Langley, a rural community near Vancouver. Watching the giant balloon being inflated is exciting in itself. The company we're flying with is Pegasus Ballooning, and the man who runs it is Dave Glebe.
It's a very broad-based type of thing. We have a lot of passengers we take up. I mean, everybody from children to 93-year-olds. There's people who save their quarters every time they go out shopping and put it in a pot and go up. I've tried to relate it to something that a person would do, and there's really nothing like it. It's a bit of a fantasy, I guess, is the word a lot of people use. It's difficult to tell. You've got to try it to experience it.
And try it we did. I guess Ramona and I both had some preconceptions of what a balloon flight would be like, but we weren't quite ready for this. It's a feeling of freedom, solitude, and perfect serenity. When you're up there, are you sort of at the mercy of the wind?
Well, Mother Nature is our engine. She's the one who drives us wherever we go with the wind. I can control the balloon by going up and down very accurately, but it's strictly by wind. There's no other way I can control the direction of the balloon.
So you really don't know where you're going to end up?
Ah, well, that's the adventure of the whole thing.
What is the mechanism that lifts the balloon off the ground?
Just hot air. That's all we use. It's basically the balloon is just a capsule to hold a big bubble of hot air, which gets lighter than the air around it, and of course we go up.
How much does a ride like this cost?
Okay, the rides vary anywhere from $150 to $125 per person. The difference being if it's just a single individual or group rates.
Everybody should try this once, and I'm sure Pegasus and Dave Glebe will be happy to oblige. Whether Dave makes money doing this, we don't know, but it's very clear to us that money is not why he does it.
For me personally, it's a total opposite to what I normally do, which is flying large aircraft at high altitudes and high speeds, to flying something that's very, very simple. It doesn't fly very high, and it's just a pleasure. I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a great way just to get away from it.
Whoa, what a great trip.
Oh, wonderful. Dave, thank you. What an experience.
You're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it.
We did.
And a fabulous way to cap off our tribute to British Columbia Day.
Next week on World Stage 86, a full slate of Expo stories, plus we devote much of our time to the Abbotsford Air Show.
Somewhere in the Fraser Valley, I'm Wayne Cousins for World Stage 86.
And I'm Ramona Mars. See you at Expo.